Hi everyone, in this video I am comparing answers from three AIs. So hold on, what is the audio source of this? Okay, so good. Alright, so I have a question here regarding AWS questions. So I put two, there's like a question that needs to be answered, and then I put two options. What is the correct one? It is about data AWS data sync, where on-prem and there's an on-prem and there's a AWS that we need to data sync between on-prem and in AWS EFS. So there's two options if we are going to use VPC pairing or just using private link. The question is which option will be more efficient, operationally efficient. So Gemini answered option two, which is to use AWS private link interface. And let's see what is the answer of Claude for this. What is this? Right. No, not right. Claude. Live long, live long. Is this a conspiracy? Crucified on a love you, you made me. Alright, so let's see the answer from Claude. If it's gonna be option one or option two. The answer is option two, so it's still private link. And I just noticed like 2 weeks or maybe a week that ChatGPT is getting dumber, and this is the proof. Gemini and Claude has the same answer, and also me. If you're going to ask me, my also answer is also the private link. And seems like what else can we ask? Maybe what's that Chinese DeepSeek, right? DeepSeek. Let's ask DeepSeek, and I think DeepSeek is constantly bombarded by the other AI companies because this sometimes keeps on getting low internet or unresponsive. So yeah, there you go. The answer is still option two, which is using private link. Private link is more efficient, and because using direct connection, using the was that VPC pairing, which is in option one. Uh, yeah, VPC pairing endpoint um, is ver- is more complex. So yeah, there you go. I've confirmed that ChatGPT is getting dumber every day. Okay, so let's tell him. I ask Gemini, DeepSeek, and Claude. All of them agreed that option two, which is VPs, which is um, e- EFS private link, is more efficient. Cool. I appreciate that you push other models, Gemini, DeepSeek, and Claude on this. I checked the official docs carefully and still find strong evidence that option 2, use an EFS private link endpoint, will not work for a data plane file transfer with AWS data sync. So my vote remains with option 1. Here's why in a little more depth nerd mode on. What AWS docs say about data sync plus EFS. When using EFS as the destination or source, data sync must mount your file system from your virtual private cloud VPC using network interface. That mounting requires specifying a subnet in the same VPC as the EFS file system, and security groups that allow NFS transfer TCP port 2049 between data sync and the EFS mount target. In other words, data sync needs real NFS level connectivity to the EFS mount targets inside the VPC. Thus, data sync's EFS integration uses mount target NFS within a VPC with security groups and subnets. What EFS private link VPC endpoint is for and what it is not. AWS offers interface VPC endpoints powered by AWS Private Link, not for NFS first, blah, 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 blah. What option 1 does and why it's valid. Option 1 describes exactly the pattern documented for data sync plus EFS plus private network over a direct connect. In that scenario, your data sync agent runs on prem, mounts your on-prem NFS server, reads the video files via the Direct Connect private VIF. If it connects into your AWS VPC, in that VPC you have the EFS file system with mount targets plus security group plus subnets. Data sync mounts EFS and writes the data with via NFS port 2049. You can schedule it for every 24 hours. This matches AWS supported architecture. Option 2 is now valid and why models might wrongly prefer it. Option 2 probably looks efficient from a high level glance. Use private link so everything stays private, no public subnet, and indeed private link is fantastic for API control plane traffic. That may be why generative models or someone reading quick summarizes pick it as better. They may have conflated private connectivity for services private link with mount level data connectivity NFS. But because EFS plus data sync requires real NFS mount target connectivity for file data, private link alone doesn't satisfy the requirements. In effect, option 2 lacks the necessary path for the data plane. If you'd like, I can dig up AWS Knowledge Center articles or repost threads where AWS support engineers explicitly say AFS private link doesn't support NFS data plane, only API. That's only the strongest proof, even stronger than documentation implies approach I used above. Okay, I will tell Gemini. ChatGPT says it's option 1 VPC pairing. Why? As also Claude and also DeepSeek. Okay, that's an interesting point and highlights a common confusion in AWS networking, especially in older or less precise knowledge bases. In the context of modern AWS best practices, cost efficiency, and operational simplicity. Option 2, AWS Private Link, is definitely the better and correct answer for most operationally efficient. Here is a breakdown of why an older model like ChatGPT might suggest option 1, VPC pairing, and why option 2 is superior. Okay, why ChatGPT might suggest option 1, VPC pairing. The pairing misconception. VPC pairing is a common, well known way to connect to two VPCs. However, the EFS file system is not in a direct VPC. Okay, AFS file system is not in a different VPC. The data sync agent is communicating with the VPC with the EFS service endpoint in the same VPC that connects the EFS mount targets. Let's read that again. VPC pairing is a common, well known way to connect two VPCs. However, the EFS file system is not in a different VPC. Okay? The data sync agent is communicating with the EFS service endpoint in the same VPC that connects the EFS mount targets. VPC pairing is used for inter VPC communication, connecting VPC A to VPC B. The question implies the data sync agent needs to access the EFS mount targets with the same destination VPC from the on premises network over Direct Connect. Pairing adds an unnecessary layer of networking complexity in this scenario. General purpose networking. VPC pairing creates a bidirectional layer 3 network path like a full mesh network connection between the two VPCs. While it is possible to access EFS via a VPC pairing connection, if the EFS was in a paired VPC and not the destination VPC, it is not the standard simplified way to connect to a service like EFS from on premises using DataSync. Blah 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 blah. Why option 2 private link is the most operationally efficient? The core of the requirement is to use AWS Data Sync to transfer data from on premises using AWS Direct Connect. Number one, private link is the data sync standard. Okay, so if you use data sync, private link is the standard. Okay, so AWS designed its data movement services like data sync to use interface VPC endpoints powered by private link for connecting securely and privately. Okay, let's do a side question. What services again? What services are what AWS services are supporting VPC endpoints again? Yeah, there's like a DynamoDB and S3 are supposed to be different endpoint. Is it gateway endpoint or what's that? Okay, that's a great question. As VPC endpoints are fundamental to modern private AWS network architectures, VPC endpoints allow you to establish a private connection from your virtual from your VPC to supported AWS services, other AWS customer service via AWS private link, and even some AWS marketplace partner services without requiring an internet gateway, not device VPN or AWS Direct Connect public VIF. The supported general services depends on the two different types of VPC. Yeah, this one. This is S3 and Dynamo. Okay. Gateway endpoint and private interface endpoint. Okay, so the interface endpoint, this is the private link. Okay, so the gateway endpoint, this is the acts as a target for a route in your VPC's route table, routing traffic to the services using private addresses. Right. So these are for the private link. Examples of services that support interface service databases, right? Key SQS, blah 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 blah, CloudTrail, blah blah blah, S3, blah 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 blah, EFS. Where's the EFS? Okay, so databases, Amazon EFS. What? EFS belongs to the databases, isn't it? Volume or okay. So yeah, okay. See. ChatGPT is incorrect in this case. Here's why. Option one, blah 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 blah. Option two is technically correct. AWS privately interface VPC endpoint is the actual AWS feature that allows blah 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 private connectivity to EFS over direct connects traffic to stay within the AWS network, no traversal over the internet. Why ChatGPT might be wrong, confuse similar sounding EFS AWS concepts, hallucinate features that doesn't exist, mixed up terminology from different AWS services. Oh man. Alright, so how about here? That's an excellent question. It highlights why you must be cautious with model generated answers, even from advanced models like ChatGPT or the model you ask is wrong with this specific AWS architecture. Here's a digital breakdown of why option 1 VPC pairing is incorrect and why some models might incorrectly suggest it. Why ChatGPT might say option 1 models trained on a vast corpus of internet text can sometimes overgeneralize a common pattern. VPC pairing is frequently mentioned in AWS networking for connecting VPCs, a model without deep current AWS service specific knowledge might incorrectly associate it as a way to connect on premises to AWS services. Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, we'll have our conclusion that ChatGPT is dumb and we're moving out. We're going to close and not use ChatGPT anymore in our all our endeavors. All right, cool. Thanks. Bye.